Welcome back. Business writing can often feel like this vague, mysterious art. But what if it were a science? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to build the blueprint, a clear step-by-step guide for creating content that actually gets results. So let's just dive right in with the big question, the one every single content creator has to ask themselves. We've all seen it, right? Some articles, some product descriptions, they just work. They get people to click, to buy, to sign up. And then others, they just become part of the noise. So what's the secret sauce? What really separates the content that sells from the content that fails? The answer really boils down to this one core idea. This is the absolute foundation of our whole blueprint. It's all about being intentional. See, every format you choose has to be deliberately linked to a specific business goal. And every skill you learn has to be tied to a standard of professionalism. Once you get that connection right, you stop guessing and you start creating with a real purpose. Okay, so here's our game plan. We'll start with the big picture, the blueprint itself. Then we'll cover how to pick the right format for the job. After that, we'll dive into the technical and professional skills you absolutely need. And we'll wrap it all up with a simple test to make sure your content is hitting the mark. First up, let's talk formats. Now, I want you to stop thinking of them as just creative choices. Instead, think of them as specific tools in a toolbox. I mean, you wouldn't use a hammer to saw a board, right? Well, you shouldn't use a press release when you're trying to build brand loyalty. Each tool has a very specific job. So what do we even mean by a format? Well, in the business world, it's simply the structure and the medium you use for your message. But here's the key part. Each format is designed to meet your customer at a very specific point in their journey, from the moment they first hear about you all the way to when they're ready to buy. Let's look at some of these tools in action. A white paper, that's for establishing yourself as an authority with some really deep research. A case study is all about showing proof, real success stories. An ebook is a fantastic way to generate leads. Newsletters are about building that long-term loyalty. The trick there is making a mass email feel like it was written just for them. A press release is for formal announcements, and a product description, well, that has one job and one job only: make the sale right now. See? Every single format has a crystal clear objective. This is a perfect example of how structured these formats really are. Take the case study. It's not just some vague story, it's a powerful formula. First, you lay out the client's problem. Second, you explain exactly how you solved it. And finally, you prove it worked with hard numbers, with measurable results. Problem, solution, result. It's simple, it's direct, and man, is it effective. Of course, just picking the right tool from the toolbox is only half the battle. You've also got to know how to use it, right? And that brings us to the technical skills, the nuts and bolts, the actual how-to of creating amazing content and making sure people can find it. Now, business writing really has two sides to it. On one hand, you have the technical skills, the mechanics of how you actually write and publish. But on the other hand, you've got the professional skills. That's the strategy, the empathy that answers why you're writing and who you're writing for. You need both to really nail it. Let's start with the technical side first. So here's the thing. You could write the most brilliant article in the world, but it's useless if nobody ever sees it. That's why SEO, using the right keywords, the right headings, is completely non-negotiable. Then you need solid research skills to back up what you're saying with credible facts. Flawless editing, maybe using a tool like Grammarly, make sure you look professional. And finally, you have to know your way around a content management system like WordPress so you can actually publish your work. All right, now let's flip to the other side of the coin. If those technical skills are the engine of your car, then these professional skills, or maybe a better word is strategic skills, they're the steering wheel. They give your content direction, a purpose, and they're what allow you to actually connect with a real human being on the other side of the screen. This is all about the why and the for whom. So what does this look like day to day? Well, adaptability means you can write a fun, casual social media post in the morning and a super formal report in the afternoon. Time management is huge because one missed deadline can throw off an entire marketing campaign. Critical thinking lets you take a really complicated idea and make it easy for anyone to understand. But maybe the most important one of all is empathy, the ability to genuinely understand your customers' problems, their pain points. And that really brings us to this fundamental truth. At the end of the day, this is what it's all about. Selling is just a byproduct of helping. The best content doesn't just scream about features, it pinpoints a reader's problem and offers a clear, valuable solution. If you only remember one thing from this whole explainer, let it be this. So we've talked about the formats and the skills.
Now let's put it all together with a super practical checklist. You can use this test on anything you write, or even on a competitor's content to see if it really holds up.
Just take a second and think about the last piece of content you wrote for your business. Maybe it was a blog post, an email, whatever. With everything we've just talked about in mind, how does it stack up? Let's get really specific.
Okay, this table is basically your quality test. First, look at the objective. Is it actually trying to solve a problem for someone, or is it just pushing for a sale? How's the structure? Good content is easy to scan. It's got headings, bullets. Bad content is just a giant wall of text. Does it use real facts and figures, or is it all just opinion and fluff? And finally, is the grammar professional and flawless, or is it filled with typos? The difference here is absolutely night and day. And that is the question I really want to leave you with. Look, in a world that is just flooded with information, we all have a choice to make. We can either add to the noise with content that's unfocused and selfish, or we can use this blueprint to create something that genuinely solves problems for people. The choice and the opportunity is all yours.